Hello, my loves. Welcome to another astro season card reading. Is it almost Sag season? Like, is it is it happening? I can't believe. Wow, I can't believe I'm doing this again, and that time is just flying, whizzing by. Today I'm reading from the Threads of Fate Oracle deck, Shadow Edition, ooh, and also from the Voyager Tarot. I was crying the other day with gratitude over this tarot deck because it was the very first deck that I bought for myself, and it just felt so good to really be in gratitude over how it's changed my life and done so much for my intuition. I don't know if y'all realize this, but not all tarot are made the same. And this particular tarot is called Intuition Cards for the 21st Century. And that's because you really have to use your intuition to read the cards and to understand the symbolism of what you're seeing, or even to just trust the symbolism of what you're seeing, because somebody might look at a sun, like I just pulled the sun card, and feel like oh, that represents some light and masculine energy, and then somebody else might say it represents intensity and burning and the future melting of our civilization. Like, everybody's going to have their own interpretation of what a symbol or anything represents to them, and I think that's why it really helped my intuition to strengthen. My intuition was fine. It helped me to strengthen my trust in my intuition. That's the one. So yeah, I just was like crying in gratitude the other day, and had just done a couple of mediumship readings where Jesus came through, and I'm like, Jesus is just like hanging out today. But his two primary like feeling messages, principles that he really brings to the table are peace and gratitude. And I just was pouring out gratitude for these cards. So they are juiced up and ready to go. And I've got the spread in front of me now. It is a spread. I'll show you. It is a spread with an obstacle card, the thoughts, actions, beliefs, and behaviors that we can start doing more of, stop doing, and continue doing because they're serving us really well. So I hope that wasn't too, what is it called, Cloverfield for you. But I wanted to show you what the spread looks like, because this is the spread that I use essentially every time. And I love using it because, card readings are wonderful for unveiling messages and guidance, but guidance doesn't really feel activated unless there is an action item associated with it, like a do this instead of this, or a don't do this because it's because this is why, and that's the guidance part. So I love that it has that action oriented focus. I'm going to start with our continue cards because I have a feeling that they're going to tell us oh, hello. How magical is that? I have a feeling they're going to tell us what we've been picking up on in Scorpio season, and the things that we're already doing well that are great belief and behavior foundations for all of the other changes that are going to come flying at us in in Sagittarius season. I always see Sagittarius season and Sag energy as like the flaming arrows that are launched, and like 10 arrows launched all at the same time that are all flaming, and they all go either in a cluster or just like spread out somehow. I feel like Sagittarius energy can have that directness and that force, or it can also have the intention of directness and force, but be so scattered that either through like humor or through passive aggression or through other like subtle covert ways to attempt directness, if a Sag isn't in their power and standing in their power, and really trusting that the force with which they show their love or they share their truth, if they're not standing in that power, then they have that dispersed, like, I'm trying to tell you something, I'm trying to give you something, but you're not gonna receive it all the way because I'm afraid that it's my truth and my love are going to hurt you or scare you in some way. So there's definitely a couple of different ways that Sagittarius shows up, and it's funny that that these two cards in particular came up while I'm like thinking about Sagittarius season and Sagittarius energy in general, because we've got the sun, which is fire. Sagittarius is a fire sign. And then we've also got the 9 of crystals, which is the narrowness card in this deck. So like, again, there's this like the fire element and the so I feel that with the sun and the 9 of crystals, crystals is about mental energy. I feel that these cards are in our continue position because they are letting us know that we have burned away a lot of, or I guess in Scorpio season, we've let drown a lot of dead versions of ourselves that aren't really alive anymore. The sun definitely represents life and life force energy. And I think we've learned to direct our focus after letting die some of those things. We've learned to direct our focus in a very specific way, but if we have struggled through Scorpio's season, then this might also be an indication that we need to continue to look at and examine those ways that make us feel alive, and the things that kind of make us feel like we're the walking dead. Get those two things really clear so we can continue to burn away what does not make us feel alive. And there's also this crane energy in Florida where I live. All of the birds have flown south, so we've got all of the birds here now, and we've all been talking about the birds are back, there's crazy stuff going on with the birds. And I feel like this is kind of an omen. So if you've been feeling like there's something coming, if you feel like there's something that's coming home to you, this is in our continued position, because it's a reminder that it might be a part of yourself that you thought you left in the past and you thought you left behind that is coming home to remind you of what feels natural for you and what feels it's like, when you go through the seasons of life, they're through the spring, summer, fall, and winter, you're going to rise up and grow into things, and then let some things fall away, and then you grow into things, and then you let things fall away. This feels like something that that was forced away from us in our childhood. I've gotten that in a few readings recently too in the past 2 days. We're revisiting our soul's past, so past lives, or doing inner child healing. We're doing this work, and we're reminded to continue doing this work to kind of hone in on something that we've left behind that is going to really help us to feel centered in who we are. So letting that come home to us and giving it a home in our spirit and in our heart is one of the things that we need to, if you sense that happening, continue going there and getting into it and allowing yourself to just dive as deeply as you can. And like I said, keep burning away all of the parts of the story around why you had to leave that part of yourself behind. Leave it behind. Leave that behind. Rid yourself of the things that you don't want to take with you, but recognize that the parts of yourself that you do love, like for example, one of the readings that I did the other day was for someone who left their creativity behind when they were young because they associated being artistic and creative when they were younger with avoidance of the substance abuse and the alcohol abuse that they lived amongst. So it was always like a distraction rather than I love this. This is for me. This makes me feel alive. Removing those associations, and even, like I said, doing like past life regression so that you can continue to welcome and create a welcoming space within you, free from those associations and those fears. Create that welcoming space within you for the parts of yourself that you left behind. And I feel like it is probably like arts and creativity, so like dancing, singing, drawing, painting, I'm trying to think of others, music of any kind, acting. I feel like that's another one that we don't include as much, but it is an art form that makes us feel alive and engages us in this emotive, expressive energy. Any of those things that help you to express yourself that you might have not done because it's associated with something mean that somebody said to you about it, that you weren't good enough, or it's associated with bad memories. Let that shit go. Continue to focus on what makes you feel alive and burning away what doesn't. Okay, the message. This is also in our continue position, and I just felt like the Explorer was perfectly aligned with this whole like go toward what makes you feel alive message. And also the first thing that I was talking about, which is intuition. Like, why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about this? There's the I, which represents our intuition, and our heart, which represents our feelings and our emotions. And they're both incredibly helpful, powerful, and both equally valid sources of information. And this is in our continued position because we've been feeling a little bit lost, we've been feeling a little bit scattered, and if you continue to allow yourself to reorient based on just your intuition and your feelings, just what your heart wants, and this vision for yourself that you've created for yourself, continuing to again hone in on that vision, that is going to be the thing during Sagittarius season that is going to really help all of us reorient, find our center again, and not